Alright, you survived the series. It's time to wrap it all up and for me to drop some gems I've learned along the way. My name is Jeremy, and in this episode, we're going to recap everything we've learned thus far, as well as some lessons I've learned along the way. An important takeaway from the first video is to diversify your portfolio. I think this one sticks with me the most because keeping all your eggs in one basket gives you a higher chance to fail if that one asset does not do well. I keep a good amount of my portfolio in DeFi protocols because I want my money to work for me, and I'm actively staking in order to gain yield on my coins. Just leaving your coins on an exchange like Coinbase and letting them sit there, not earning interest, means you are missing out on potential gains and leaves you open to getting hacked because Coinbase is a centralized exchange. That brings us back to the lesson about security and wallets, because keeping your hard-earned assets safe is the most important thing. There are a lot of scams going around lately, and having a hardware wallet helps mitigate that risk. Safety and security aside, it's important to think about how much money you are committing to investing. One rule of thumb I always mention is only put in what you can afford to lose. I can't stress this enough because just recently, an acquaintance of mine got scammed for his hard-earned NFTs and some ETH, and some of this money was meant to pay off student loans. It's important to prioritize money you need for important things like bills and cost of living, while keeping money left over that you don't immediately need aside for investments. It's important to know that you will still be okay if your investment goes to zero. I always try and make these points a priority because I want you all to understand the risks going in and how best to manage those risks. Speaking of risk management, it's important to take profits along the way. Sure, you might be up 1,000%, but those gains are unrealized if you don't sell. A good rule I always try to follow is to take profit when my initial investment hits 100%. For example, if you started with $100, bought some coins, and the value increased to $200, I might be inclined to sell half of those coins so I at least cover my initial cost basis of $100. That way, if that coin continues to skyrocket, everything from that point on is profit or runners, and I don't have to worry if the price drops to zero because I've already recouped my initial investment. So at worst, I break even. Another tip related to selling is to consider leaving some runners instead of selling out of your entire position. What does this mean? Well, I'll give you a personal example. During the bull run of crypto from 2017 to 2018, I amassed nearly 8,500 BNB tokens. Right before the crash, I sold my entire position and netted a profit of around $20,000. I was super impressed with myself because I had put in around $2,000 to begin with, and I felt pretty smart because the crypto market crashed shortly afterwards. However, if I had even held 25% of that position into March 2021, I would have been a millionaire. So the lesson here is, if you've done super well, it's okay to hold some coins for the long term because the market is cyclical and you never know what can happen. These are all opinions I've formulated based on my own personal experiences, so this isn't financial advice, it's just hindsight that I'd like to share with you. One last thing I want to share is something I learned from my sneakerhead days that applies more to NFTs than cryptocurrencies, but I think is a good takeaway overall. One to rock, one to stock, and one to flip. Essentially, buy 3, because you want one to keep for yourself, one to hold as a long-term investment, and one that you can try and make a quick sale on. Buying NFT art is subjective, and you can choose the one you like aesthetically to keep for yourself. Everyone has their own style, and in this world of cryptocurrency, an NFT can represent your digital identity, so it's important to get ones that you actually like. The one to hold as an investment is one that you think will do well in the long term, and that can be based on a variety of different factors. One to flip is pretty self-explanatory. Get in early and get out when the price goes up. We'll touch more on this when I kick off my next series, which will be all about NFTs, so there'll be plenty more to come. That's it for this series on cryptocurrency. Which tips did you find most helpful? Let me know down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next series.